Wars are humanity's darkest creations, yet they have shaped borders, destroyed empire, given rise to superpower, and permanently altered the course of history. Some wars ended dynasties, while others birthed revolutions that transformed society. These are not just battles fought with weapons, but turning points that decided the future of entire civilization. Today, we're diving into the top 10 wars that changed the world forever, and the impact of these conflicts still being felt today. So, let's count down the top 10 most important wars in human history. Wars that didn't just decide winners and losers, but reshaped the entire world order. Number 10. The Peloponnesian War, 431–404 BC. We begin in ancient Greece, where the Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta determined the fate of the first great democracy. Athens was a powerful naval empire and the birthplace of philosophy, democracy, and culture. Sparta, on the other hand, was a militaristic powerhouse built on discipline and strength. The war dragged on for nearly 3 decades, devastating the Greek world. Athens lost, and its democracy weakened, but the bigger impact was the decline of Greek unity. With Greece divided and weak, it created the perfect opening for a rising power Macedonia under Alexander the Great to dominate. The Peloponnesian War is remembered as a cautionary tale. Even advanced civilizations can collapse from within when rival pride and civil war take over. Number 9. The Punic Wars, 264–146 BC. Fast forward to ancient Rome and Carthage. These two superpowers clashed in 3 brutal wars that defined the ancient Mediterranean world. The Punic Wars gave us one of history's greatest generals, Hannibal, who famously marched war elephants across the Alps to attack Rome. But in the end, Rome prevailed, destroying Carthage completely in 146 BC. The outcome of the Punic Wars secured Rome's dominance over the Mediterranean and paved the way for the Roman Empire, an empire whose laws, architecture, and governance still influence our world today. Had Carthage won, the world might have looked very different, with Africa, not Europe, dominating Western civilization. Number 8. The 100 Years' War, 1337–1453, lasting more than a century. This conflict between England and France wasn't just about kings fighting for thrones, it changed warfare itself. The 100 Years' War introduced new weapons and tactics, from the longbow to early gunpowder artillery, marking the beginning of the end for medieval knights. It also gave rise to legendary figures like Joan of Arc, whose courage inspired the French to victory. But the deeper impact was the rise of nationalism. Before this war, people identified with their local lord or region. Afterward, they began to see themselves as citizens of nations. France and England emerged not just as kingdoms, but as nation-states, laying the groundwork for the modern idea of country. Number 7. The American Revolutionary War, 1775–1783. When 13 colonies decided they would no longer bow to the British crown, it sparked a revolution that shook the entire world. The American Revolution wasn't just about independence. It was about ideas. Liberty, equality, and democracy became global concepts that inspired revolutions in France, Latin America, and beyond. With the birth of the United States of America, a new model of governance emerged, one that rejected monarchy and embraced the rule of the people. Over time, America grew into a superpower, and it all began with this war. Number 6. The French Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars, 1789–1815. Barely a decade after the American Revolution, France erupted into its own revolution. The monarchy fell, and radical new ideas of freedom and equality spread across Europe. But revolutions don't stay contained. Soon, Napoleon Bonaparte rose to power and launched wars across the continent. His conquests redrew the map of Europe, spreading revolutionary ideals, but also causing immense destruction. The Napoleonic Wars ultimately ended with Napoleon's defeat at Waterloo in 1815, but the legacy lived on. Monarchies realized they could no longer rule as they once had, and nationalism spread rapidly. The modern European system of nation-states is a direct result of these wars. Number 5. The American Civil War, 1861–1865. In the mid-19th century, the United States was torn apart by slavery, states' rights, and deep political division. The American Civil War was the bloodiest conflict in U.S. history, with over 600,000 deaths. The war ended slavery in America and preserved the Union, but its impact went far beyond U.S. borders. It showed the world that a democracy could survive a civil war and emerge strong. It also marked the rise of industrial warfare, with railroads, telegraph, and ironclad ships changing how wars were fought. The outcome set the stage for the U.S. to become a global power in the 20th century. Number 4. World War I, 1914–1918, often called the war to end all wars. World War I was unlike anything the world had ever seen. Millions were killed in the trenches, and new weapons, tanks, poison gas, machine guns made warfare more deadly, but the consequences were even greater. The Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, German, and Russian empires collapsed. New countries emerged in Europe and the Middle East. The war also laid the foundation for the League of Nations, the first attempt at international peace, and perhaps most important, the harsh Treaty of Versailles planted the seeds of resentment in Germany's seeds that would grow into World War II. Number 3, World War II 1939 to 1945, the deadliest war in human history. World War II engulfed nearly every corner of the globe, with over 70 million dead. It was a conflict of unimaginable destruction, but its impact shaped the modern world more than any other war. Fascism was defeated. The Holocaust exposed the horrors of unchecked hatred, and the atomic bomb introduced a new age of warfare. World War II also gave rise to two global superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, launching the Cold War. It created the United Nations, redefined international law, and accelerated decolonization as European empires weakened. The post-war order we live in today, our politics, our alliance, even our technology, was forged in the fires of World War II. Number 2, the Cold War 1947 to 1991. It wasn't a single battle, but the Cold War was one of the most influential conflicts in history. A standoff between the US and the Soviet Union. It was fought with ideology, espionage, proxy wars, and nuclear threat. The Cold War led to the space technological break and the spread of capitalism versus communism across the globe. Wars in Korea, Vietnam, and Afghanistan were fought as part of this struggle. In the end, the Soviet Union collapsed, leaving the United States as the world's sole superpower. The Cold War shaped modern geopolitics, alliances like NATO, and even today's tensions between East and West. Number 1, the War on Terror 2001 present. Finally, the most recent and ongoing conflict, the War on Terror. Triggered by the September 11th attacks in 2001, it has redefined warfare in the 21st century. From the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq to the global fight against terrorism, this conflict has reshaped international relations, surveillance, security, and even personal freedom. It exposed how powerful non-state actors like terrorist groups could challenge nations. 2 decades later, the world still feels the conflict in geopolitics, migration, military spending, and the constant balance between security and freedom. Wars are tragedy, but they are also turning from ancient battles that shifted empires to modern conflicts that shape superpowers. Wars have carved the path of history. Each war on this list changed not just borders, but the way humanity thinks, governs, and survives. And while we hope the future brings peace, history reminds us that every conflict leaves lessons we must never forget. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into his politics and the forces shaping our world today. Stay tuned, because the past is never really past. It's the blueprint of our future.